One of the biggest skill gaps in Madden is the ability to make people miss in the open field. And in Madden 23, we've seen a decrease in the effectiveness of the core ball carrier moves such as juke and spin. And I'll be honest with you, I don't really have the best ball carrier moves in the open field until I started looking into the double juke move that you see a lot of players doing online. And I actually struggled mightily with this until I figured something out that really made this click. So while I'm not the best at it, I think I can provide you guys a way to get on the right track to making people miss in the open field. Let's get into it. What is up, guys? Zan from the Zan Madden YouTube channel, and as I talked about in the intro, we are going to be taking a look at the double juke move. I want to give some thoughts on kind of how to start off with this, and I'm going to give you guys a list of things that I think matter. Let's start off first with ball hand. I've heard players say that you can juke regardless of what hand the ball is in and get the quick cut animation going the other direction. But I will tell you, as I've started off with the beginner level version of this, it seems to be a little bit more consistent when the ball is in the hand that you start juking to, meaning that if I have the ball in my right hand, I want to start my juke to the right and then swoop back to the left, and vice versa. If the ball's in your left hand, you start juking to the left and then you swoop back to the right. So this is something that you guys will want to practice, and it's important that you guys know what the switch ball hand mechanic is, because if I throw the ball out of the backfield, you might see that sometimes as we run, you might end up running, you know, with the ball in one hand, but you want to switch it over to the other. To do this, you just tap the right bumper. This is R1 depending on what console you're in, and you see here that it switches the ball hand. You see a lot of players do this because they spam it, and there's a lot of players out there that believe that it actually conserves stamina, makes your player kind of accelerate a little bit faster while you're doing it. But you're going to want to try this at least when you're starting, to get the ball in the correct hand. So say I'm running diagonal to the right. If the ball's in our outside shoulder, we're fine. But what you're going to do is you're going to start off with a basically a juke to the ball hand. So right here, let's go back to the right, and our ball hand is switched. We are going to start with the right stick, just the right stick with no turbo. So that's step number one, right stick. Now, the direction that you are going to hold the left stick coming right out of this is basically down and left. I hear a lot of people say you just go right and then just go left. If you guys go right and then left, like 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock or 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, your guy's gonna get laid out. This was the biggest hurdle for me when I heard a lot of people teaching this, that it started to click when I was doing this. So really what I'm doing here is I'm running 2 o'clock and then I'm swooping back to about 7 o'clock. And that is the way that you guys are going to be able to get these juke animations. And you saw that the second one, I basically was running towards 11 o'clock and I swooped back to about 5 o'clock. In other words, the way to explain it is that your first juke, whatever direction the stick goes, you have to go basically 6 hours the exact opposite direction. So if your first juke while you're running is towards 2 o'clock, your swoop back is going to go basically to 8 o'clock. So it's whatever direction you're going, the other juke is 180 degrees if you viewed it as a circle. So whether you want to view it as a clock or a circle, and you know, whatever works best for you, that's the best way to explain it. So here I am running to 2 o'clock. I'm going to juke and then swoop it back to about 7 o'clock, maybe 8 o'clock. And you see that we get that quick move. So when you're starting off, first and foremost, this is something that's really, really easy to kind of understand as you go through it. Now, unfortunately, not every situation where you are in the open field are you going to be able to run up and diagonal. Sometimes you're going to be running sideways. This is where it's going to advance into a little bit tougher. You basically are going to, as you're doing this, you're going to try to juke and then swoop the stick kind of the same way. So really what this comes down to is kind of learning the orientation of your ball carrier as you're running. So in this situation, I'm running, the ball is in the near hand, I'm juking and then swooping back to 7 o'clock yet again. So I personally find this as kind of like a 2 to 7 or a 2 to 8, or vice versa, it would be kind of an 11 to 5 or an 11 to 4. So if I were to go with, you know, like a slant to Julio, we're running across the field this way, it's basically going to be 11 to 4. And then we are able to come back the other direction. So it's not always your first juke is going to be, you know, in the same direction every single time. It's kind of based off of what way your shoulders are aligned. And that's really the disconnect that I personally had as I was kind of going through this. So hopefully that tip can kind of help you out. Now, this is with offense only on the field. I would recommend probably starting on something like Rookie, which will allow you to have kind of, you know, unlimited stamina. So if I were to switch off of all Madden and go replace this ball, you should notice that your stamina stays up. This will allow you to practice and get all this down pretty quickly. So you see right here, our stamina doesn't move, right? I mean, very slowly, very, very slowly. But you kind of see here how I can do this and, you know, multiple times and kind of get this down. So really, again, I find that the stick juking is much more so about the clock. It's not left, right. It's kind of like a certain direction and then six hours the opposite direction is the way that I can best explain it. And then of course there's more advanced, you know, jukes. If you guys look at David T on Twitter, that dude is nasty. He has some insane clips that he posts where he's able to kind of get his guy to swivel 180 degrees. But once you guys get this down on offense only, the next way that I would recommend setting this up is going into your practice type and going kickoff. And when you guys are doing this on kickoff, what you guys are going to want to do is definitely go and be the away team, because the away team is the receiving team. So now we are the away team receiving the kick, and we're going to try to set these up where we're going to set up multiple defenders. So right here, we're going to start to run this direction. I'm going to switch my ball hand. I'm going to do a quick juke and then swoop back to the other side. And you see that I was able to set up multiple defenders with this animation. Now I am still on rookie, so let's go ahead and amp this up. I'm going to take this all the way back up to all Madden. It's going to make the players pursue faster, better angles, etc. So now we're here on all Madden. And again, I want you guys to just practice this. You take these out. If you need to switch the ball hand, you tap right trigger. But again, it's just going to be swoop it just like that. You're setting up that first juke to about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and then you're swooping it back down to about, with the left stick, 8 o'clock. You do not use both sticks. The first juke is with the right stick, and then the counter input is with the left stick. So juking left, and then the left stick to the right. That simple. So again, it's all about that second input being, you know, basically down and sideways on the controller, not straight sideways. If you guys go straight sideways, you'll know right away. So I'm going to do an example. So if I go like that and I hold basically straight to 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, you don't get that animation. You can juke to 3 or 9 o'clock, but your L stick input needs to be basically down into the direction. So again, here's 3 to, you know, 8. And you see that I'm able to make multiple people miss. And then if you can really accelerate and get to the corner, that's really where you're going to win. So definitely try to return this down the sidelines and swoop back to the inside. And then you're going to get to a point where you feel like you can kind of do this and make moves to the outside rather than outside to inside. If you guys can beat multiple defenders going, you know, to the outside, that can help get you the corner, and some of these can be big returns. So you're gonna see here, I'm gonna try to switch ball hand, juke, swoop. Just made that one guy miss, and I was gonna set up my blocks all going to the left. Maybe you guys return it up the gut, and then try to swoop to the outside. That's something you might want to do as well. So right here, I'm gonna switch ball hand, and I just did the 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock thing. And that is the downside to this. If you guys screw this up and you get hit sticked, you probably will fumble, because when you screw this up, it does take a lot of stamina. However, this is a very, very useful mechanic, especially on interception returns. So again here, you see right there, if I screw that up, I'm gonna take a big hit. Your stamina is a little bit lower when you do these moves. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind as you're playing through this. This will take practice. It will. Again, I told you I'm not very good at it, but I do think that in terms of helping you guys unlock the potential of this so you can start doing it, this is something I've been trying to learn for a long time. And by no means do I have great offensive stick. I never really have. I have a good lurk, but really being able to have, you know, kind of that that move that you can rely on. I mean, see right there, I made 5 people miss. That could be a big thing, especially on an interception return. A lot of times one of those linemen gets you and now you have to have a drive. Well, with this move, those linemen are basically not going to have a chance. So again here, see how I set up basically 3 or 4 defenders and cut back behind my blockers right there. Start with that and then try to start pulling this off down the middle. But I hope today's video helped you guys out. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, drop those below. We'll see you guys tomorrow with our next video upload. Until then, this is Zan. Get in the lab and good luck.